Hey, this is Nick, Ruger Comp's channel. Wanted to give you guys a little bit more content here. So I've done a lot of things to the F250 over the last 5-6 months, and I've had little short videos on them and never really explained much or decisions why. And I'm a consumer, right? Just like everybody else. And the reason I do certain things, you know, it may appeal to some of you guys. So let's get into it. We're just going for a quick drive. Gonna park the truck here in a quiet spot and we can have a chat. Lighting to me, which if you've watched some of my older videos, is one of the most important things to me. Is good lighting in your vehicle, right? So lighting in this truck didn't have the LED bulbs or the HIDs, whatever you want to call them. They were the incandescent bulbs, the halogens. Well, I don't think incandescent and halogen are the same thing, but they were halogen bulbs. And the shape of these headlights suck on the F250. Horrible. The square design looks really cool, but it sucks. Really, really does. So we're gonna stop right here. I'm gonna get out and we're gonna talk about it. Yeah, the shape of the headlights, I mean, to me it's aesthetically pleasing, right? Have that square design, looks cool. Two bulbs. You've got one high, one low one, but they're both dual power, right? So they're both high and low beams. So replace these with LEDs from Headlight Revolution. Not that that's like the best place to get them. I've used Headlight Revolution quite a bit and they are solid. They honor their warranties, they're very helpful, and they have good products on there. In my old truck, I had the SV4 Supernovas, really bright. I like the whiteness of the light, but the bulbs, I had the daytime running lights on that truck, and about every year one of the bulbs would go out. 2-year warranty on those. They weren't cheap. I think they're like 120 bucks or so, don't quote me. But after 2 years, onto my third bulb replacement, I had to buy my own. So didn't go with those on this. Ended up going with the GTRs on my truck here. Lifetime guaranteed bulb. Color's okay, you know, and maybe it's just the shape of the headlight, but the headlights on these, the shape sucks. You don't get good constant beam pattern on the F250s. It's kind of a washed out beam. It doesn't have a hot spot, and then colder areas. The hottest, most noticeable spot is the top inside corners of the headlight, just where it gathers light and reflects it. So again, same thing with the fog lights. Ended up going with, got rid of those. Those were a halogen bulb, and went with the GTR 2-strokes, which is a new style that was out. A little bit more expensive. If I could redo it, I would probably get the GTR 2-strokes for the headlights as well. But I ended up tinting my fog lights. Reason I tinted them here, reason I tinted these was because I've been off-road with my son this hunting season up in the Blue Mountains, which are southeast of us. Pretty heavy snowstorm was coming through, some weather. We were driving on a mountain road early in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock, no ambient light. And with my headlights on, there was enough snow, big heavy snowflakes, that I couldn't see the road or you know, like 2 feet past the hood of my truck because there's just so much light reflection, and it was foggy as well. So luckily, I had some Ford scan work done on my truck and was able to turn on the parking lights, the marker lights, and engage the fog lights, and was able to drive that way. Still with that white light was really, really difficult to see, better than having the headlights on that were so up high. But we were able to navigate. Otherwise, you know, honestly, I would have probably had to have pulled over on the side of the road. So fast forward, looking at, you know, headlight kits, or excuse me, fog light kits for this truck. Baja Designs has some amazing kits, but I don't have the money to spend 1,400 bucks on a fog light kit, right? So bulbs for a couple $100 is the next best thing. And in those kits, and almost every aftermarket fog light assembly, you know, the whole thing together, every one of those kits has a yellow light in it, you know, either a white and a yellow combo, or it's just a yellow light there. So I started digging into that. You know, what's with the yellow light, right? Why are they such a big deal? Thinking back when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, I just kind of dated myself. I don't remember a lot of the KC halogen lights, you know, off-road lights that guys had on their trucks, being yellow. Some were, but not the majority. And it kind of makes sense because a halogen bulb is a yellowish hued light. It's not really a white light, right? I mean, you can get some nowadays through like Silver Star and stuff, or Sylvania, but they aren't yellow coated or yellow tinted lenses. So the reason a yellow light actually doesn't penetrate or doesn't have as much distance with its lumens, but apparently your eyes don't get overwhelmed by the reflection. So a white light penetrates further distance of visible use of that light, but your eyes get overstimulated by it, and then your brain as well, right? So your eyes see the light, goes to your optic nerve, goes to your brain, and you get overstimulated. So a lot of the off-road racers, the professionals, the Baja guys, all have a yellow or amber, I guess you should call it, light. And the reason is because they don't get eye fatigue, right? They don't get tired of looking at that light. And if you've ever drove through dense fog or like a big snowstorm and you have a newer vehicle that's got a white light, you can definitely agree with me that you get wore out. You get wore out. So I was like, well, what can I do? I'm cheap. I already bought the LEDs. So how am I going to rectify this? So I went online to Amazon. Well, first I Googled what is the best yellow tint, and I forget the name. I'll end up putting the description of it from Amazon down below, or the link down below in the description, so you guys can check that out. But I ordered it off Amazon. It was like $12 for 2 like square foot sheets, and you know, that's no big deal. And I'm a knuckle dragger, I am a bonehead, and I put this on. It was the first try, so you can see up here, I cut this one a little bit short, and I got a bubble up here, but it's not anything down the field of view of where the light would be. But overall, I mean, I'm happy with this. I got enough extra that once this gets bunged up with rock chips and whatnot, I can replace it. And then this one came out a little bit better, cut it a little bit wider, but still not a professional job, but it's good, right? I mean, it's clear, it's gonna work. I ended up getting a tint kit off Amazon that was like $7-8. Comes with a squeegee, a knife to cut it, and a couple sheets, so less than $25 with shipping, and I was able to coat those, and it makes such a tremendous difference. I wish it wasn't so beautiful and sunny out right now. I would show you guys what that light looks like, and I haven't been able to use it in the fog because I did it kind of at the tail end of winter, beginning of spring. Anyway, I will make another video. I talked about that forescan briefly, and all the changes that can be made in your truck. It isn't a ton, but to me it's valuable. So I will have another video with kind of going over that. You know, you strongly recommend tracking down somebody with a forescan that's not a dealership, that'll do stuff to it that the dealership won't do. Had a guy that worked at a dealership, but he was a salesman that did it on the side. So that was solid work. Anyway, yellow lights on there, they make a huge difference. With that forescan, I can run my fog lights with my high beams on. I can run my fog lights with my marker lights on. And if I recall before, I know you definitely couldn't with the high beams, and I don't remember if you could with the fog or with the marker lights on, the parking lights, but I don't think you could. I think fog lights were limited strictly to low beams only. So anyway, GTR 2 strokes, I'll put a description in there. Huge difference on these lights on these trucks if you don't have the upgraded LED/HID lighting, like my truck has, just the halogen bulbs, and getting better lighting is better than anything. You will have to repoint your headlights with it having 4 bulbs and each one putting out north of 3,000 lumens. You can see the back of somebody's hairline through the front of their skull with them if they're not pointed right, if they're coming at you. I ended up pointing these lower than what Headlight Revolutions and what factory specs are. Factory specs are you up to the center of your headlight. Typically you don't have a double, but you can see a little dot right here. That's the center point of your headlight. So you measure up from the ground to that, take that measurement, and you go put a piece of tape, and then 2 inches below that. So I used a 2-inch wide piece of blue masking tape. So you do it on both headlights, create a solid line across your wall, back up 25 feet. So 25 feet from the front of the headlight to the surface that you're going to aim your headlights at. and then you want the top of your beam, they say the hot spot, but I had to do the top of the beam, barely hitting the bottom of that 2-inch strip, and then I had to back it down about another 1.5 inches, 2 inches, just so I wasn't blinding people and hurting them. I hate when I'm driving down the road and I just can't see because somebody's got headlights that aren't pointed right, you know. Anyway, kind of a long story, nothing, I mean, too interesting, but you know, strongly recommend if you've got one of these trucks that has these bulbs, upgrade to LEDs. I think it was $1,400 or $1,500 to do the LED housing swaps, and I just didn't want to spend that money. You know, there's a lot other things with 3 kids and a house and life, you know, that wasn't in my budget. So anyway, hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Hope the weather's as nice as what it is around here. I will give you guys another video within a week regarding the forescan and what that did for me and why I think you should do it, and you can kind of take it from there. But if you haven't already, please hit the like button down in the bottom corner down here. What that does for me is it helps me to make more content. I'm getting really, really close to being able to monetize these videos. And if I monetize these videos, my wife and I were actually talking about it a week ago. What that does, it allows me to build more content for you guys, right? So I'm a guy that uses my truck like a truck should be used. You know, we haul a camper, lots, multiple times a month, 10,000 pound camper. When it's loaded, we get firewood, we go into the mountains a lot, go a lot of hunting and stuff. So there's going to be a lot of things, if you're into that I'll be able to make. You know, I'd love to put a winch in this truck. I'm going to do it myself. I would love to put a supercharger on this truck. I've seen some of the videos and what they do. I wouldn't do that myself. I would take it somewhere. But you know, if I get more subscribers and I'm able to monetize this channel, it's going to allow me to take that money that I get from that and invest it into this, and you guys get to go along for the ride, right? So there's value to me in watching videos on stuff that I'm into, because it gives me kind of a bearing on if it's something I want to invest in, right? Whether or not it's a firearm, whether or not it's tires, wheels, you know, you name it, it's out there on YouTube. If you guys are into that, help me out. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.